Hello folks, welcome to the 9th episode of Short Film Showcase. I'm your host, Mike Messier. We'll be here for the next hour to screen some great local films from great local filmmakers here in the New England region. In addition to that, we're going to have two special guests on this episode. Now before we go any further, I'd like to tell you that if you'd like to have your short film on Short Film Showcase, go ahead and check out our website, bcfilms.net, and send an email to Bryan Casey. That's bcfilms.net, email to Bryan Casey to get your short film on the Short Film Showcase. We'll be starting off our episode with a short film titled Hey There Chief. It's by my good friend and buddy, Tim Labonte. Let's check it out right now.
Hello, listeners. We're back with Kenny on Dear Alice. We were discussing his current living situation with his grandmother.
Alice, she done it again.
What's wrong, Kenny?
She doesn't get it.
Maybe it's time you two need to sit down and figure out that laundry schedule.
She comes down here again and I'm shoving that f***ing schnauzer in the dryer.
Who is this terrible woman we're listening to? Take that back. Alice is a smart woman. Must be, bad spark plug. Need gas. Gas?
Late.
Sorry, Roger, we had, car troubles.
Dude, you're getting paid anyway.
Oh, great. Two more people who don't care about my feelings. If you guys are done tearing out my heart like my son of a bitch ex-girlfriend, we can get this little vision quest started.
His name's Roger?
Yes, why?
Ranger Roger?
Knock it off.
Sierra de Soya inhabited this area until they were forced out of their land in 1763. Before they left, the shaman put a curse on this land, just like that prostitute Amy from Cape Cod, who apparently has hepatitis C. The legend goes that the spirit of the late Native American tribe still possess these woods, like the haunting shrieks of my girlfriend cheating on me in the same room. If you throw trash on the ground, they cry, just like when my father left me and my mother with only our tears and a 15-year-old cat. Any questions? Good. We still have 10 miles. Were they used as the murderous hosts of the indigenous natives? Either way, they still haven't found the Lemonster twins.
Where'd you find this guy?
I didn't.
So which way?
Left, right, doesn't matter. They're all dead ends. Now I'm gonna be telling you guys something the other rangers won't tell you. The Sierra de Soya used to take the
Kill it! Dude, kill it! Kill it! Kill it!
What the hell, Derek? I was just trying to get the rat off him. Oh, bloody hell! Is he dead? How should I know? All right.
Who are you calling? Help?
Yeah.
Hi, you're speaking to dear Alice. What's troubling you today,
Yeah,
darling?
Alice, look. Big fan. How do you get rid of a body in the woods?
Well, make sure he's dead first.
What on earth are you doing?
Yeah, he's dead.
Jesus Christ, Derek!
You're being rude, man.
Have you lost your mind? You just murdered Roger! Is that the woman from the talk show?
She's got a name, Martin, all right? It's Alice, and yes, she's gonna help us with this.
What planet are you on? You just killed a person. That is illegal! Idiot!
Dude, would you calm down? Why are we here anyway?
I'll tell you why we're here. We're here because my wife, your sister, made us come out to this godforsaken swath of forest for some stupid vacation where we were supposed to have a good time, but all I learned is that you're a cold-blooded killer. Isn't that great for me? Because now I'm an accomplice!
You know what? Strip club doesn't sound so bad now, does it? Huh, Martin?
What do you propose we do now?
First, remove all forms of identification. Burn the evidence. Fill his shirt with heavy stones. Find the nearest lake and dispose of the body. Thank you so much for listening to Dear Alice.
We need to get going.
Do you even know where we are?
I don't know, my GPS isn't responding.
Oh, that's just great. Well, guess what? I'm gonna go drain the lizard, all right? I'll be right back.
What does that even mean?
Welcome back to Short Film Showcase. I'd like to welcome our first guest to this episode. His name is Skip Shea, and his film Choices recently won Best New England Film at the Massachusetts Independent Film Festival. Welcome to the Short Film Showcase, my good friend Skip Shea.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
It's great for you to be here. Now, Skip, you've been doing a lot of stuff in recent years with short films, and let's talk about Choices. You must be excited that you recently won this award in the film festival.
I'm honored, to say the least, and I was quite surprised, actually.
Tell us, we're going to see the film a little bit later, but just give us a little brief overview about what it's about.
Well, it's just that, Choices. It's about it's a comedy, I hope, about a guy who likes fantasy football and professional wrestling.
Yep.
And his girlfriend is more into arts and literature, and the choices that they make to either have the relationship work or not.
That's great. That's great. Now, was this based on personal experience with your own life, or?
No. Actually, I had just spent the weekend at Rock and Shock, the horror festival in Worcester.
Yep.
And I met Sarah Nicklin and Michael Reed there.
Your actors.
The actors in,
Yes.
in the short. And after a weekend with horror stuff, I was kind of done with horror for the weekend, and I asked if they wanted to work together, and they said sure, and I went home and I put in the Marx Brothers, A Night at the Opera,
Yep.
And then I wrote a comedy while watching that for them. That was it. It was nothing more than that prompt.
So it's a creative process can come in any number of ways. In this instance, you met some actors that you wanted to work with, and you were kind of inspired to write a script that would work for them.
There wasn't horror, because they've done a lot of horror, so I just wanted to completely veer away from that for a moment, and I made the choice to write a comedy, I guess.
That's great.
Throw the title in there.
When you work with actors, what's part of your process, Skip, as far as directing the actors, working with the actors?
Minimalist at best.
Okay.
I don't normally do. I tend to work with people I want to work with.
Yes.
So I kind of already trust them.
Yep.
So I just let them go.
Okay.
Basically, and if the first take is completely off, then there'll be some direction. But if they're on track, I don't really feel the need to really get into it. I'm not a big process person that way.
Right.
I really just trust the actors to do their job.
Well, we've said it before. It's age-old wisdom that directing is 90% casting. Do you go along with that?
Completely.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you believe in auditions or just kind of casting people organically?
You have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to at times. But this was, specific for them. I thought about doing it then, so there's only 3 people in it. So it was pretty easy to not have it for that. It was a short with 3 people. But larger scale, of course, you absolutely have to go to casting. I will say that because of the next guest who's coming on too, though.
Yeah, good friend Andy Mulhall will be on this episode. And for some of the younger filmmakers out there, people just starting to get into film, when you have a film in a film festival, just briefly, what's that like as far as the entry of a film into a film festival, as far as having your work seen by other viewers and other people involved in the film festival?
Well, it's a great thing, but to me, it's almost like acting. It's very much like acting. It's very much like commission sales. I mean, it's great when you get in one, but there is plenty of rejection before.
Right.
And you have to be prepared for all of the rejection, and it for many, many different reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean that your film is bad.
Right.
It just means it doesn't fit what they're looking for. Same thing with acting.
Yeah.
So it's always an honor that somebody decided that it fits their vision for their festival. And that's basically how I feel every time I get to go to one of these things.
And Choice's winning Best New England Film at this film festival just recently, that must have been a big emotional lift for you and your actors. And
it's I was blindsided. I can't be any more honest than that. I didn't expect to be nominated for anything, let alone I was nominated for Best Screenplay, Best Short, Best New England Film, and one other thing I don't even remember. Oh, Best Actress, Sarah Nicklin.
yes.
And I didn't expect any of that. I mean, I'm there watching all these amazing films, and to think that these people had thought that mine was better than them is staggering to me, because on my set somebody asked me who the DP was, because there aren't any in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it was literally just me. I mean, I held the
Right.
boom, I did the camera. It was just, let's go make a movie type of thing.
Right.
Jim Jarmusch, really,
Yeah.
small crew, let's just go. So I didn't expect any of this.
You mentioned Jim Jarmusch. Is he one of your influences? What are some of his films off the top of my head?
Ghost Dog and Down by Law are my two of my favorite films, and he directed both of them.
And who are some of your other influences as far as directors or writers, producers in the film industry? People that you kind of say, yeah, that guy or that woman is great at what they do.
I'm a sucker for foreign films.
Okay.
Bergman, Antonioni. I also am a huge fan of Woody Allen.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Yeah, very quirky.
Quirky. Then that's, I think, my work could be easily described as quirky.
Great. Let me ask you this. You mentioned the film festival circuit, or I asked you about it, And then you have another picture called Micro Cinema, and that's going to New Jersey and Los Angeles.
Yes.
And so tell us a bit about that.
Micro Cinema is a horror film.
Yeah.
And it's going to the Jersey Gore Fest on November 7th, and then it's in Hollywood at the Shock Fest, which is a big weekend horror film festival in Hollywood. That's, I think, November 16th and 17th.
Okay.
I don't know if it's nominated for anything. That hasn't come out yet. But this short film has done incredibly well on its own. I put it online, and this film festival in Denmark sent me a message, can we show it here? It's been screened in Canada 4 times.
Nice.
It's done very, very well for, you know, a 6-minute little piece. So I'm pretty happy with it.
What is your goals as a filmmaker, Skip? Is it you really want to push this thing as far as you can, or what do you see as your goals as a filmmaker?
Define what you mean by push this thing as far as I can.
Do you see yourself becoming a paid full-time filmmaker, or?
Oh, that certainly is a goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's part of what I'm working towards.
That's great.
I don't know if it, because you'll see a comedy here, and then I've done a horror, so I'm kind of all over with what I produce, and it would always, I think, be kind of quirky.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely a goal.
That's great. What's next for Skip Shea?
Well, let's see what happens at Shockfest. But I'm presently in pre-production for a couple of web series. One is another horror web series called Long Reach.
Yeah.
I'm working on that. I've got a couple more shorts that I'm just about ready to shoot that I've written, and someone else has just picked me up to direct their short. And then I've got a couple of feature lengths. I mean, so I'm always writing, I'm always working, I'm always, plotting the next step, I guess.
That's what I say myself, is that writing is free. Producing is when the money comes in, and that's always a challenge. But as far as having your computer and your typing, that's and your creativity.
I think for any filmmaker, it's important if you're going to produce your own stuff, you should be writing almost daily, if not daily.
Right.
And then watching as many movies as you can.
Yeah. And so finally, before we check out choices, is there any advice you would have for young filmmakers out there thinking about or already starting to make their films? Do you have any words of wisdom for them as they're coming up?
It's as simple as just do it. Just keep doing it and keep submitting. I think one thing that I would say on top of just doing it is to make sure that each one is given its proper attention after it's completed.
Right.
Because the festival circuit there is a lot of rejection. It does take a lot of time. So don't give up on one right away and then go to the next one. Just nurture that one, and it may have life further on down the road. So keep with it. Stick with all of them. Don't just say, okay, that one, Rhode Island International Film Festival didn't pick that up, so therefore I'm done.
Right.
Just keep going.
Persevere.
With all of them, right.
That's great, Skip. All right, Skip, I want to thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's great. And now on the Short Film Showcase, we're proud to present our guest's work, Skip Shea's Choices, starring Nikki Luparelli, Michael Reed, and Sarah Nicklin. So now let's check out Choices right here on the Short Film Showcase.
Life is a constant series of choices. I mean, every second you make a choice, whether you know it or not, constantly. And once you realize that, everything changes. Like with all the news coming out of the church, it's probably a better idea to take the communion from the priest's hand instead of letting him put it right in your mouth. Just saying. Either way, at least drinking some of the wine is a disinfectant. Don't worry, they're not going to run out. Their headquarters are in Italy. Albert Camus once said, "Life is the sum of all the choices you make. And that was my choice to quote him right then. Sarah likes it when philosophers are quoted. I like it when sports stats are.
Are you ready? We're gonna be late.
Yep. Just need to find my quarterback.
Quarterback?
Yeah, it's a bye week for the Pats. Tom Brady's my quarterback.
Your quarterback?
For the Heels.
Heels.
It's my fantasy football team, the Heels. You know, like the bad guys in professional wrestling? Heels.
Fantasy football and professional wrestling. What's that?
What?
Well, that.
That is the Pope. You want me to win, don't you?
I think that he's a little too busy with his apologies tour to help you find your pretend quarterback.
These quarterbacks are real.
About as real as his apologies. Come on. We're gonna be late for the Manet exhibit.
Edward Manet. The Worcester Museum is putting on an exhibit of his work, The Dead Toreador, a dead man in a painting by a dead painter. The theme continues. Just let me find a quarterback. I just need to activate him.
Michael, this is fantasy. It's not real.
It's fun. Besides, not everything that you do is based in reality either.
What?
Like your book club. Come on, most of the stuff you guys read is fiction, right?
Really? Last month, we explored the works of the Transcendentalists.
Transcendental what? What is that? Books about dental surgery?
Transcendentalists! Henry David Thoreau? Ralph Waldo Emerson? Don't those names mean anything to you?
They would if they could throw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and be available right now.
Finish each day and be done with it. You've done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt creep in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day.
That was a quote by Emerson. I had no idea what she was talking about. Creeping absurdities, blunders, tomorrow's a new day. Anyway, I had no idea what that had to do between the choice of fantasy football and art. Until I learned the blunder was me. What do you mean you're leaving me?
We've just grown in different directions.
Why? Because you want to go to the museum right now and I just want to play... Listen, I said I wanted to go. I do. I want to go, all right? Now, just let me go upstairs. I'll get changed.
No, don't bother. I think I've met someone.
What do you mean you think? Who is it? Is it the guy from the book club? It is, isn't it? Harold? It's the guy from the book club with the beret? He's not even French, you know.
Michael, I'm sorry.
Look, I don't know what I would do if you left me, okay? I don't know what I would do.
Michael.
I'd kill myself. I would. I would jump off a bridge. I would jump off the bridge that we first met at. Well, obviously the choice was a sentimental choice. Clearly I didn't think it through too well. Which was a choice. Like the choice not to take Sarah's interests or passions seriously. Or at least the choice to pretend to be interested. Who'd have thought that I'd be a momentary choice of hers, right? The only way to have a friend is to be one. That's a quote by Emerson. But I think a much more fitting quote at this time would be by Groucho Marx. Time wounds all heals.
not a very far drop, is it?
Not enough to do damage, I'm afraid.
Too bad.
Excuse me?
Oh, it's just one of those days.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't even bring my ice skates anyway.
Now, the worst thing is the Patriots have a bye this week, and Tom Brady is my quarterback for fantasy football.
Wait. You play fantasy football?
Yeah, I won the league 2 years running.
Michael, I'm sorry. I'm just confused. There are all these things that I want to see and do, but...
What happened to Parade Boy?
Well, he smokes clove cigarettes.
That's pretentious.
That's what I said.
And what do you say? Pretentious? Moi?
Who's she?
Just some girl that likes to hang out at book clubs, reading about transcendentalists.
Ah, the Three Name Club. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau.
Yep.
Who's she?
Welcome back to Short Film Showcase. I'd like to welcome our second guest to the show. She owns LDI Casting in Rhode Island. That's Let's Do It Casting. Her name is Annie Mulhall. Welcome to the show, Annie.
Thank you, Mike.
Annie, I've known you for a few years, and you've been a great service for the Rhode Island acting scene. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, LDI Casting casts all the local actors for the film and television projects that come to what used to be just Rhode Island, but now we're sort of branching out to Massachusetts and a little bit of Connecticut. But we hire all the local actors.
Okay.
So background or principal casting or day player, whatever they need.
So you have had some great success stories, and I'm really proud to say that you were able to get me into a position to audition for a movie called Hard Luck several years ago. So it's great for me to be able to have you on the show and to testify that in Rhode Island it's possible for actors to get a principal role in a major film.
When Brotherhood was shooting in Rhode Island, a lot of actors got that same opportunity that you did, because every episode had 12 to 15 day player roles that, because it was episodic television, some of them went on to do more than one, not only one scene, but more than one episode. They were written in more and more if the producers and the directors sort of, saw something in the actor that they wanted to keep. So they got there was a lot of opportunity when that show was here.
Brotherhood was a great show on Showtime. Now, for the last 7 or 8 years, the major motion picture scene coming to Rhode Island has kind of fluctuated between really good, really exciting opportunities and sometimes not so good, and that's usually dependent on the tax credit situation. Can you speak just a little bit about that?
Yeah, and yes, exactly what that is. I think that when it first started, when the tax credit went into place, I think in 2005, and then that's when the boom started. And I think since then, I think now there's about 42, maybe even 47 states that have tax credits in place, so it's a lot more competitive. So we as Rhode Island have had to stay competitive, or in one way or another. And so what's happened to the tax credit now, where they've put a cap on the tax credit, and they've also manipulated it to include, I think, live performance and things. So I think it's until that gets known. Right now, I feel it might be a little confusing to people who are coming into the state about what exactly this is, because as far as I know, and admittedly I don't know all of the tax credits that are out there, but I don't think that there's one quite like ours, and I think it might be a little confusing for them to not just be able to come to Rhode Island like they were before.
And just for the audience that's not quite sure, a tax credit is an incentive for filmmakers to come to Rhode Island and make their motion picture projects right here, and there's certain considerations or parameters for them to be eligible.
There's a certain percentage that has to be filmed in Rhode Island,
Right.
and it only applies to monies that are spent in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And that can go from anywhere from, you know, food, catering, you know, all the way to post-production. As long as it's spent in Rhode Island, it can apply to the tax credit.
And I'd say one of the best things for the local actors in Rhode Island or Massachusetts or even Connecticut to do in preparation for the opportunities that will come is to take classes. And let's talk about your classes that you offer through LDI, Let's Do It Casting.
Well, the classes that I offer are pretty specific. I know there's a lot of classes out there that theater people can offer. I think your class is included.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. And my class is very specific to the audition process. It's audition, you know, on-camera auditioning. And the reason that I started doing those classes is I saw a need for it. I didn't start out by teaching classes first. It actually went in reverse. When I would go to see a show, a play, for example, and saw a good actor and brought them in, and maybe their skills as far as auditioning for camera work wasn't quite there.
Weren't up to snuff.
So I started offering that, you know, that specific class. And I think that the way I always look at it, or the thing I usually say, two things. One is if you're interviewing for a job, let's say it's a burger joint,
right.
It's not likely in your interview that they'll test your cooking skills as far as flipping burgers.
Sure.
So the audition, the interview and the audition are very separate from what the actual work will be. So the audition process has to be just as learned as any other part of the acting process. And then the other thing that that I say, to me, if you don't continue taking classes in one form or another, whether it be you just getting a group of friends together and staying in practice, I say it's like saying you went to the gym when you were in college.
Right.
Well, I went once when I was in college, so I'm good.
Right.
And you can't, you know, you have to keep going to the gym.
Yeah.
You have to keep the creative muscle strong.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because lethargy, just like you're talking about the analogy to weightlifting or exercise, you got to keep flexing, so to speak.
Exactly. When people do come and I do private coaching as well, and somebody finally does that, and they'll say, oh, I haven't been here in so long, or I haven't done this in so long, I feel so out of practice. Yeah, and you don't know that, and you certainly don't want to waste an audition on that, because they don't come every week.
That's right, that's right. So people would reach you through ldicasting.net, is that correct?
Yes.
ldicasting.net. Okay, great. Let's see. We mentioned that you have done some work with SAG, Screen Actors Guild, in kind of assisting, or exactly what are you doing with SAG? Tell us about that.
Well, it depends on the project, and if a project is a union project, if somebody calls me and asks about my casting services and what we do, it's one of the first questions is it union or non-union? Union
is Screen Actors Guild AFTRA, which just merged.
Correct.
Right.
And if it isn't, and they would consider it, I put them in touch with the union office in Boston, because I think it's worth their while to at least ask, because I don't think it's as difficult to get a SAG contract as people think it is. And what it would do if they decided to do that is it expands their options of local actors. And that's not to say that there aren't good non-union actors, or that they're, just because they're union, that they're great. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that they're union or non-union. We can explore and, like I said, expand the pool of what we're looking for. And that's what I ended up doing, you know. And there's a million different contracts. So student filmmakers can sign a contract with SAG and use and use SAG actors in a student film, of course, all the way up to big budget features. So,
great.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of different criteria for those things as well.
I wish we had more time to talk about your life story, your career story, but I do know that you worked for a few seasons on Mad TV. Was that correct?
I did. And
what was that experience like with Will Sasso? Was that right? Was he there when you were there?
Yes, actually he was. It was fantastic, because I was working with the executive producers, and I didn't really know that much about television, and by not that much I mean nothing.
Right.
And so working in that office, or working for those people, I got to see how the whole thing came together, and which departments and how they managed to create this create this TV show, and I loved every second of that. That was great.
And when you came back to Rhode Island, you worked for a theater company, or worked with a theater company called Newgate.
I did.
As the
managing director.
Managing director.
Yep.
So that must have been an experience.
Yep, that was another time that was, well, when I first came back, I worked with the GAM Theater. I just stage managed one of their shows. And so I got to meet a whole bunch of new actors that I hadn't, you know, I had been away for a little while, so got in touch with them. And one of the actors in that King Lear production became the artistic director of the Newgate Theater. And then that's when I followed him and went and worked at Newgate. So that was, it was great because it was, you know, it wasn't a new theater, but it was, you know, a small theater at the time. And so it was kind of cool to be able to, once again, you know, you're wearing a bunch of different hats, so you just gain a whole bunch of experience. So.
And on top of everything else that you do a really nice charity called Al's House, is that correct?
Yes, it's Al's House is the official name, but the programs that we have is called Al's Moving Minds.
Okay.
And we provide 2-hour programs, 2-hour activities on location. That's why I want to make that clear. We don't have a facility, but it's for people who are living at home, who are in the early to moderate stages of memory loss due to any form of dementia, Alzheimer's, or any other. And it caters to elderly, but it's not limited to elderly. But it's on location, and it's throughout the state. So we could do bowling in East Providence or in Warwick or Westerly. And we have art program that's starting by, I don't know if you know Skip Shea.
Oh yeah, Skip was on earlier. He's a great guy.
So he'll be starting an art program for us. And we have an acting program by Steve Kidd from the GAM Theater.
Oh yes.
And then, you know, other regular stuff. And they're all modified programs to cater to the client with memory loss. So even if they couldn't bowl, if they're in the bowling alley, hearing the bowling alley sounds, smelling the bowling alley stuff, they feel like they've bowled. That's good enough for us.
That's great, Annie. Okay, we're going to wrap things up with our interview. I want to thank you so much for being here on the Short Film Showcase.
My pleasure.
And if people do want to contact you, just go to ldicasting.net.
Yes.
Okay, Annie Mulhall, thank you so much for being on the Short Film Showcase.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And now I'd like to bring to the Short Film Showcase our next short film. It's called Lucky Day, and it's by the director Adam Nichols. So let's check out Lucky Day by Adam Nichols right here on the Short Film Showcase.
Morning, Lou. Saw you walking home from work the other day. I'll be in the area tonight if you need a ride.
I wouldn't want to bother you.
I'll be here at 8:30. Let me fix that. 8:30. So, how's business? I remember my dad telling me almost every day when he was younger he would be at the store. Your father was there, always sneaking him free stuff. He can barely remember anything now. He still talks about the store. Who's gonna run the place when?
I don't know. There's no one left to.
Lou, I'm sorry I didn't make June's funeral. I was out of the city taking care of my mom.
It's okay.
At around 6:30. He was 43 years old. His family was not willing to speak, but his friends and neighbors said he was a quiet man who kept to himself and are shocked at this seemingly random act of violence.
Well, as all of you know, the Powerball lottery jackpot is now at $260 million, which is a record-setting number. So, if you think you are lucky, get out there and get a ticket. Don't forget to tune in Friday night at 8 for the calling of the numbers. Good luck.
A series of robberies at the city's most popular bank, Community Bank, have police on alert. The string of robberies have all occurred on Tuesday evenings. The perpetrators are seen here in this surveillance footage wearing George W. Bush masks.
Morning, Lou. Let me help you with that. So you ready for the big lottery?
Yep.
Yeah, you always are.
Well, I just play my numbers. $3.99, Luke.
You have change for a 20?
Actually, no. I'm sorry. Why don't you just take it?
How do you expect to stay open when you just give things away? Take it easy, Lou.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Lomart. Would you like one of our coupon books? We have all detergent for sale. Oh, no, okay. Will you let one of our employees know if you need any help? What a nice guy.
Spill in front of aisle 10, customer hazard, maintenance department. We got a juice spill in front of aisle 10. Customer register 14 is now open. Customer register 14 is now opening.
Thank you for shopping Lomart. Did you find everything you were looking for, sir?
I just needed a new broom.
Okay.
We are here to help you.
What? Oh, yeah, the button. That's $5.25.
All available cashiers, cross-trained, please come to the front end. All available cross-trained associates, front end, please.
And would you like a bag with that, sir?
Sure.
Here you go. And here's your receipt.
That about wraps it up this evening, and be sure to stay tuned for the huge Powerball lottery jackpot. The numbers will be called right here at 8 o'clock. Good luck, everyone, and for Channel 5 News, this is Spence Walters saying, sleep tight.
Family Food Market.
Hello, is this Louis Pritchard?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, this is Stephen Lerner with Community Bank. I'm calling regarding the status of your mortgage payments.
All right.
Did you get the letter we sent you?
Well, I have the money. I just haven't had a chance to send it to you.
You see, we haven't received the last 3 payments. Now, you understand that under our procedure, it states that if more than 3 payments are missed, we are legally forced to foreclose on your property. We will be sending one of our representatives out to discuss this matter with you in person. Thank you, Mr. Pritchard. Have a great evening, and remember, we're here to help you.
And here are your Powerball Lotto numbers. The first number is 19. The second number is 70. The third number is 08. And the fourth number is 11. And the Powerball number is 04. Thank you for playing and good night.
Welcome back to the Short Film Showcase. I'd like to thank our guests Skip Shea and Annie Mulhall for being on this episode. I hope you've enjoyed watching. On our next episode, we'll be having guest directors Bryan and Sean W. Manchester. I hope you come back to check it out. And a quick reminder, if you're a filmmaker who'd like to have your short film on the Short Film Showcase, please contact our producer, Bryan Casey, through bcfilms.net. That's Bryan Casey through bcfilms.net. You can also find us on our Facebook page under the show's name, Short Film Showcase. Until next time, remember what we say here on the show. If you can dream it, shoot it. I'm Mike Messier.